Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. Now, on this video, I will be driving through the town of Greensburg, Indiana. Now, apparently, in many parts of the country, to include here in the state of Indiana, there are certain communities that if you relocate to their community, that particular community will either maybe they'll give you some free land to where you can build a structure on. B, they might give away some money. There's some areas that might pay some of your school tuition off for those that went to college. I mean, there's all kind of incentives that a lot of communities here in the United States are given to have people move to their communities. Now, the majority of these communities have a relatively low population when it comes to entertainment. And I mean, for the most part, there's not going to really be a whole lot to do. That, or there's a couple of metro areas such as Memphis and Baltimore that are giving away money for people who move to those areas. So, which, of course, with Baltimore and Memphis, both of those communities have a relatively high crime rate. So typically there's going to be some sort of disadvantage of moving to a lot of these communities, which is the reason why these communities are using different type of incentives to lure people into their community. Now, here in Greensburg, Indiana, the major disadvantage of living here, if you can call it that, is, well, when it comes to the entertainment, there's not going to be a whole lot to do. Now, if you ask me, I don't know a lot about Greensburg at all. So a lot of what I say about Greensburg is going to be based off of research, or it's going to be based off of my observation. Now, as far as living here in Greensburg, just based off of my observation, I would say this is a nice and quiet and low-key community. I'm going to readjust this camera for you guys here. So yeah, just based off of initial observation, I would say this is a quiet, low-key community. Sorry about that, people. I needed to readjust the camera. Now, obviously, if you're looking for a place to live that has an abundance of entertainment, this is not going to be your community. However, the good news is, if you do move here, due to some of the incentives that I'm going to discuss in a minute here, you're not going to be too far away. You're only going to be like maybe 25 minutes away, or give or take 25 minutes away from Shelbyville, Indiana, which, Shelbyville, Indiana is where one of the casinos in the state of Indiana is located. So if you need a little bit of excitement in your life, you can always drive up to Shelbyville, Indiana for that. Or you can drive an hour to Indianapolis. or you can drive into, you can also drive into Greenwood, Indiana. And you're only 37 minutes away from Columbus, Indiana. So those are a few places where you can go if you're wanting to be in an area that has more entertainment, along with a few more amenities than what you'll find here in Greensburg. Now, for starters, the population here in Greensburg is going to be 11,984 people, which the population here has been growing at a rate of 7.7% as of the 2020 census. The population density is going to be 1,293 people. Not too bad in my opinion. And I promise, in a minute here, I will get to some of the incentives of why you may want to consider Greensburg, Indiana, your new home, or at least come here and check it out. Now, housing prices here aren't too bad. Now, there's not too terribly many houses here that are currently up for sale, but there are a few, as y'all can see. Now, if you're handy or you have some decent connections, you can buy you a fixer-upper for around $50,000 right now. If you're looking for something that's in half-decent shape, that's move-in condition ready, there's houses like that around here for $95,000 to $100,000 on the low end. Now the median home price here is $176,000. Now, why would you want to consider Greensburg, Indiana, your new home? Why in the world would you move here? Well, for starters, if you move here, you will receive $7,000 in cash. No, you'll receive a total of $7,000 $7,000 in total incentives. You'll receive $5,000 in cash to offset some of your moving expenses to move here, and you will receive $2,000 in gift cards to various places around town, I'm assuming. Now this community is attempting to lure in people who are remote workers. So if you are a remote worker, you might want to come and check out this community, Greensburg, Indiana. I mean, how many places can you go anymore, especially in this busy housing market? How many places like this can you move to where the community is going to actually pay for you to be here? I mean, this area, it's not some hole-in-the-wall, trashy town. It's definitely not ghetto. I mean, this is a nice, quiet, typical Midwestern town. So it's, it's a nice, quiet community here. Now, either A, in order to get any of these incentives that I've just discussed, the $5,000 for moving costs along with the $2,000 in gift cards, either A, you would have to be a remote worker, or B, if you move here, whatever job that you work, it would have to be out of this general area. So you couldn't get a job around this area and still qualify for these incentives. You would have to have a job out of this area or work remotely. And for those of you that have children, this community has a program called, let me look at my notes here. This community has a program called Grandparents on Demand. Basically what that entails is, well, I guess you have a bunch of older women, elderly females, that are going to volunteer some of their time to babysit your children, for those of you that got children. So if you got children and you want to move here, I guess if you have to take care of some business, and for whatever reason you don't want to take your children with you, then there's a program to where these ladies will watch your children. And apparently, if you move here, you will also receive a home-cooked meal from some of the residents here in Greensburg, Indiana. So I guess some of these people will be happy to cook you a home-cooked meal. Now, as far as some of the requirements, in order to get these incentives that I'm discussing, some of the requirements that you would need to meet would be, as I discussed a minute ago, you would have to either work remotely or have a job that's not in this area. And secondly, you would be required to move here within the next 6 to 12 months. So those will be your requirements. And I'm pretty sure this would also have to be your primary residence. So if you wanted to buy a house and be an investor, that's not going to work. You would have to be a resident. You would have to become a resident. This community would have to be your primary residence. Now, as I drive around this community, for the most part, you have all of your basic amenities in this community. You do have all your basic amenities around here. I'm getting ready to jump on Route 3 right now. But yeah, basically you have at least most of your basic amenities here. You got a Rural King for those of you that are handy or you work outside in your yard. You got your car dealerships. You have down the street here, you got a Walmart. You have many of your chain restaurants for those of you that want to eat out at some point. You got all your chain restaurants. So this is not some little small rinky-dink hole-in-the-wall town. I mean, this community, I mean, it seems like a fairly solid community. I mean, you got Aldi's. I mean, they're closed at this point for remodeling, but once they get done remodeling, then you'll have Aldi's here. You have a few banks. I mean, yeah, there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit in this community. There really is. There's quite a bit. So yeah, if I were you, if you're looking to relocate, like I said, check out Indiana. Check out Greensburg, Indiana. I mean, all the incentives I just read off, and on top of that, your housing prices here are fairly low. You can't beat it. I mean, you may not get the 300 plus sunny days out of the year, but hey, you'll be all right. I mean, with the low cost of housing and some of the incentives I just discussed, you can always take off for the winter. I mean, if you work remotely, you can always take off for the winter and go somewhere warm. Now, for those of you that want to move here just because you want to move here and you could care less about the incentives that I discussed a minute ago, there are a few places here in town that are hiring. And even for you folks, like I said, housing prices here are relatively low. I mean, this appears to be a nice, clean, quiet community. Here we're going to go through downtown here in Greensburg, Indiana. Which their downtown doesn't appear to be too big. but we're gonna go through it. We're gonna go through it. Now, this city was founded in 1822. Yeah, this city was founded in 1822 by Thomas Hendrick. And I guess apparently his wife was a native of Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Now, just like many other parts of the country, during the earlier part of the 20th century, i.e. the 1900s, the race relations here were pretty bad. I mean, to put it in nice terms, the blacks that moved here initially were not welcome to this community. So, during the early part of the 20th century, this community systematically got rid of the black residents. Now, I don't know how many blacks were living here before that happened, but when they got rid of their black residents, After they got rid of their black residents, this community officially became a sundown town. And basically, and for those of you that don't know what a sundown town is basically a community, was basically a community to where if you were black, you could come into that area during the day, handle your business, go to work. But by nighttime, if you were caught out and about walking, then you were subject to anything from getting beat up all the way to being lynched. I mean, basically, if you got caught walking around here at night and you were black, I mean, I would say almost anything that you can imagine that somebody could do to another human being that's bad. If you were black, one of those things would have most likely happened. Now, the expulsion of the black residents here happened in 1906. That was the year that this community had a race riot. And starting in 1907 was when this community officially became a sundown town. And even to this day, the population here is predominantly white. I mean, the population here, I believe, is 95% white. And I don't even think at this point there's enough black residents here in this community to even for the census to even take a measurement. Well, that'll make no sense. I mean, I don't think there's enough blacks right now who live in this community for the census to even be able to count. That's what I meant to say. Now, some of the biggest employers here in this community are going to be, well, it's going to be Delta Faucet, or you can get a job at the Honda plant. Those are going to be your two biggest employers here in Greensburg. Now, as far as how this community would treat black folks today, to be completely honest, I would not know, because I don't know anybody who lives out here. I never spent no time out here other than now to come out here to do this video. For those of you that might want to move out here and take advantage of some of the incentives of this community. So, I don't know how the racial situation out here is in terms of how they would treat people of other races. All I know is this is a predominantly white community. That's all I know. But like I said, it appears to be a nice, clean, and quiet community. And one way, I mean, if you're wanting to come out here and you're a minority and you're kind of leery about whether to come out here or not based on the information I just gave you about this community, one thing that you can do is you can come out here and maybe do some grocery shopping, or even though you may not need to gas your vehicle, you can gas your vehicle anyways. And I mean, basically you can find a way to interact with some of the people in this community and see how they treat you. And a lot of times, based on how people treat you, you can make at least somewhat of a sound decision on whether you want to move to that particular community or not. So if you're a minority and you're watching this and you're thinking, man, I might come out here despite what I said, you know what? Go ahead and do it. I mean, because people here might be very nice people. This community may have turned a whole new leaf when it comes to some of the racial history. I don't know. I mean, like I said, come out here, interact with the community, and go from there. That's the best advice I can give you. I mean, any community that you move to that you don't know, I would encourage you to do that anyway. All right, folks, it's getting close to the half-hour mark, so I'm gonna take this opportunity to thank everybody for watching. And I'm going to also remind you to subscribe and leave comments below and thumbs up to help me out. But yeah, I would say this community has a little bit of everything. Whether you want to live in a stick-built home or you want to live in a trailer, I would say out here you will find a little bit of everything. You got your older homes around here, and out this way you got some of your newer homes. And again, when I say newer homes, I'm talking about homes that were built in maybe the late 1950s and newer. And of course, there's more to this community to see than what I'm gonna most likely record due to timing. I mean, sometimes I might do a second video, but in this case, I'm not gonna do a second video, at least not today. Maybe on another time I'll do a second video, but not right now because I got other videos I gotta get done. And then after I got other stuff I gotta do to get ready for the work week. So due to timing and things of that nature, this is going to be the only video for the time being that you're going to see of Greensburg, Indiana. But I think you guys get the general concept of this area. I mean, you saw downtown, you saw the older section of the city. Right now I'm showing you the newer section of the city, so to speak. And there's areas around here where they have new houses that have just been built. So come out here, check it out for yourself. Until next time, everybody have a blessed one, and I will see you guys on the next video.